Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today we had a massive sale on the Nasdaq, on the US 30, and we had a massive buy on GBP USD during the London session. Like I have mentioned in my previous videos, I am a time-based trader. That means I trade at specific time. I do not wait for setups all day. That was an old me. But I remember those days. I feel sorry for myself. I used to sit all day and I used to go through about 28 currency pairs, and I'll be flipping through 28 pairs. That was so stressful. Oh my goodness, when I remember those days, I really feel sorry for myself. But for now guys, I can show you my watch list. Many of you have asked me what pairs do I trade. The pairs that I focus on, I have Nasdaq, US 30, the DAX, GU, and the EU. My favorites being DAX, German 40, here says German 30, but I think it's now called German 40. So this is my favorite for about a year now. DAX is my favorite, especially during the London session, and then followed by the Nasdaq and then the US 30. These, I added these two pairs recently, I think like a month ago, and that was because few months ago, or rather a few weeks ago, the indices were not performing well. The price action wasn't so clear, it wasn't well. And then when I looked at GU and the EU, I loved how they were moving. I loved the price action, the price delivery was really good. So I added both of them on my watch list. And I intend to keep them because I like how they move. I do understand how they move. Listen, you don't pick pairs or rather assets that you're gonna be trading just because you saw somebody picking those pairs. In the first place, I used to trade the DAX, German 30, because I understood this asset inside out, like the way it moves, what time it moves. And then I added Nasdaq and US 30. I trade these assets at different time zone, and that's why most of you will see me posting photos or screenshots of my trades in the morning. That is I live in Finland, so in the morning, that is from 10, I think, yeah, 10, and for those who live in the UK, that is like 8 in the morning. And yeah, so basically in the morning during the London, I look for setups on the DAX, GU, or EU. Either one of the two. And the reason why I trade GU, EU, and DAX is a European index. GBP is a European currency. EU is a European currency. That means three of these assets, they are very active during London session. And then when we move over to New York session, they are also active because they are paired with the USD dollar, USD. Okay, the United States dollar. So that pairing makes these currency pairs to move both in London and in New York. But if you talk about GBP JPY, I used to trade GBP JPY I think a year ago. I even remember I got funded with, was it a funding talent or my forex funds? I think it was my forex funds. I got funded with 200k a year a year ago, I think. If not, maybe, yeah, probably a year ago. And no, not a year, maybe I'm almost a year. I think I got funded first with funding torrent, which collapsed, as you know. That was the first firm that I made some money, and then with MFF. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna talk about funding companies, but basically my emphasis is, before you pick a pair that you're going to focus on, you need to know your time zone where you live, and then pick some pairs that have more volume in the trading session that you look for setups. If you trade in Asia, do not pick USD pairs. Do not pick any like Nasdaqs and US 30. Go with JPY pairs, you know. And if you are trading London, it's the best if you go with USD and Euro GBP pairs, especially those that have the pairing of EU, USD, GBP. Those are really good. And so New York, I trade Nasdaq, US 30. London, I trade the DAX, GU, and EU. However, in New York, I don't look for setups in the DAX. And in New York, I look for setups in GBP USD, Euro USD, because in London, GBP has volume, Euro has volume. When we turn to New York, we have this pair is paired with USD, USD. That means there is more volume in the market. And that's why if I see a good setup on any of these two pairs, I can take it. But not just any setup. I want perfect setups, because the reason is because my focus on New York session is the Nasdaq and the US 30. But if the price action of Nasdaq and US 30 is not good, then I turn over to GBP and the Euro USD. So I think you understand what I mean. So you have to be a time-based trader. Pick the best time to trade. Which trading session you're going to be focusing on. Like if I'm going to trade New York session, why would I sit all day in front of my PC? I have other things to do. Like here in Finland, London opens at 10 a.m. New York opens at 3 p.m. But I do not trade the at that time. I open when at the opening of the equity. Equity opens at 4:30 p.m. That is when I come to look for setups. So 30 minutes before the equity opens, I come back to my screens and look for setups. And then each session I give it a maximum of 2 hours. So London has 2 hours and New York session has 2 hours. And then if I don't see any setup within this time span of 2 hours, then I close my computer and then come back later in the next session. So I try to take it easy and to keep my mind at ease. So all right, anyways, so today we had massive sales on the Nasdaq. So this is Nasdaq. Obviously you can see we took out this low, then price came, we took out this high, this buy side, we took it out. If I zoom in, you can see how price took it out. Immediately we closed in this range. So maybe our target could be to take out this low right here. And yeah, so maybe this low also to be taken out. If I switch to the 4-hour time frame, anyway, I'm gonna remove these. Anyway, ignore these, the blue horizontal lines, ignore them. These are a bit advanced stuff I don't want to talk about on this video. I don't want to confuse anybody. So we see price making these highs and lows that will make a tiny swing low. We take out that buy side, we breach below, and on the 4-hour time frame we make a smart money reversal. We take out liquidity, we break this low, price goes back in, and we fall down. And then if I put my fib, let me use 50%, let me see. Alright, so if I zoom in, you'll see that price came into 50% retracement level, of which I don't recommend. This is where I opened my sales, however on the lower time frame. So I've been holding, if you saw the pictures I posted today on Twitter and Instagram, I've been holding sales from here, and I've been holding. I saw this retracement. This horizontal line is where I believed price was gonna hit before continuing down. That was accurate. And then I noticed something. We have these equal highs that price needs to take out. I'm gonna mark them with this color. Okay, then I also realized yesterday price left this high. Okay, so these equal highs were taken out by this candle, which is today. So this candle right here, and this is yesterday. We open today, we make equal highs. This candle at 12 o'clock takes out these relatively equal highs. All right, and then we price today at this is London opens. We took out these relatively equal highs, then we left a high right here, so I marked it. And then let's go to M15. Okay, M15, we find this low, this sell side liquidity that price has to take out. M5, now this is where I made my entries, and I'll show you how I made my entries. So this was news. This candle, there was a huge sell. Remember, when there is a huge sell, there's gonna be some left imbalance in here. Price has to come and fill. So if I take my fib from this high to this low, the yellow zone is for buy or selling or making positions, and then in the red zone, it's where I have to put my stop loss above it. So let me go to M2. Let me remove the background so that it can be clear to you. Okay, now before I put the fib, let me go back. I want you to notice something. After the huge sale, after the news, we had this high. Price came and took it out and then came back in here. You have to remember, first of all, that on the 15 minutes time frame, we have created a smart money reversal pattern. We have this high, a low, a high, then we break it, then we are coming back to sell. So go back to M2. Even though my fib is showing me that I'm in the sell area, this high has to be taken out. So what I did, I waited for this high to be taken out. Price came back below this high, and when I switched to M1, this is where I made my entry. I want to show you that. I'm gonna zoom in so that you can see clearly. So we had this formation, a huge buy. Price made these tiny structures on M1, if you can see it. Okay, so on this candle, this black candle that broke below this horizontal blue line, we have this candle that retested, failed, then we had a huge bearish engulfing. Can you see it? Then we have this candle is our order block, and then if you saw the picture that I posted, I entered here and my stop loss was above this horizontal line, and my target was on this blue horizontal line. If you remember, this is what I posted right here, and I had an easy 1:10. 1:10. Now let's say if you are doing a challenge with FTMO, MyForex Funds, or whichever, if you could have one, let me say 2 perfect trades like this, 2 trades a week, not every day, a week, you choose the best setups possible, and you have one between 1:5 to 1:10. That means you only need either 1 or 2 setups for you to pass the challenge. And even when you go on a live account, you don't have to stress yourself trading every day. You could either have 1 to 2 setups per week, or you could also pick, if you're able to control, to be disciplined and follow your rules, you could also pick 1 or 2 trades a day, but the perfect setups are possible. You don't have to keep jumping in and out of anything that looks like your system. There is something that will look like your system, but it's not. You have to qualify it. Is this what I trade every day, or it just looks like it? If it's not your system, then forget it. Okay? So most of the times you guys are failing because your mind is your mind is filled up with so much information, so much stuff, and you can't think straight because you are over trading, and then you are also learning different trading styles from so many people. I see people watching some streamers who are trading live using support and resistance, using supply and demand, using order blocks. On every stream you are there. You cannot succeed in this industry if you have that kind of that type of a mindset. So that was an easy 1:10. I tell people, if you can master two things to master, two things to master to be profitable, to be more profitable than than 90 no what is that then English is not my language. Okay, two things to master to be more profitable than oh my god, my vocabulary is really horrible. More profitable than 90%. I need to go back to primary school. Two things to master to be more profitable than 90% of traders. This is to be in the top, guys, in the top. Believe me, if you master these two things I'm gonna give you here, you're gonna be in the top, and you don't even have to oh my god. Anyways, let me mention them. So the first you have to master is market structure, and two, liquidity. If you can master these two things, if you can understand market structure and liquidity, there is absolutely no way you cannot win in this industry. Those people who are not profitable, and those traders who are struggling, and those who are profitable but have a very lower win rate, let's say 50% and below, I think a good win rate should be at 60% and above is really good. 50% is okay, but those who are struggling to be above 60%, They lack one of these two things. And the kind of traders I'm talking about are those who, out of 10 trades, they win 3 or 4, maybe 5, which is not bad if you have a higher risk to reward ratio. However, for you to, let's say if you have 3 or 4 consecutive losses, very few people will be able to control their emotions. Very few people. Some people, they get mad at themselves. They think they are not good enough. Are you able to hold yourself if you lose 3 consecutive times? Can you hold yourself from anger, from beating yourself up? Can you hold yourself? So those who are unable to go beyond 50% win rate, they lack either one of these two things. They don't understand market structure, they don't understand liquidity. But the highest of these two is liquidity. If you enter a trade and you are taken out several times, it's because your understanding of liquidity is very poor. Anyways, today's video was all about a review on the Nasdaq sales, but at least I have shared with you some important information. This is really important. If you know anybody who has shared or who has spoken anything about these two, let me know in the comment section. So until next time, guys, I hope you've learned something. I've shown you how I took my sales on the Nasdaq. Those who have watched previous videos and those who have watched the videos of ICT will immediately understand how easy the entry was. Alright, so take care until next time.